love doing vendor events. When I first started, I started August 2013 with Younique. And I was like, I really want to do these events. I think they seem fun. And so that's sort of how I started. I did the online thing a little bit too, but I networked online. My presenters were all mostly from online, but then if I wanted, I could like sell mascara at vendor events. It's very easy to do. So a lot of questions I get are, how do you find events? So there are some websites online that you can find, but what I'm going to tell you to really think about is do your research, because you can find events or hear about events, and some presenters will come back and be like, how's your event? And they'll be like, oh, there was nobody there, it was a total dud, I sold like a mascara, or like, I did an event, okay, this is a funny story. I did an event when I first started. It was in a hotel, and it was like in like a Northville area, which was like a nice area, and I was like, okay, this will be good. They put us upstairs. So they didn't advertise for it very well, and there were like no customers there. But I'll tell you, some of my best return customers now are other vendors that I met at that event. I also, at those dud events, do your networking, make sure that they friend you and you stay in contact, because A, they'll tell you when there's a good event that they did, and you can like take note and sign up for it the following year. Or there's a coordinator that you know does good events, you know what I mean? So you can network that way. But I've had presenters come from the duddiest of vendor events, because they follow you on Facebook, they see, you're having success, they want a little piece of it. So just do your due diligence with that and make sure that you're taking full advantage of that. My good events I learned about from other direct sellers. So I make friends with people, and some join me, some don't, but you all work together and tell each other what's good. So that's what I recommend doing versus just doing a Google search. I mean, there's craftfestival.net, I think. There's different ones like that, but that's how I find them, is asking around. These are questions that you want to ask yourself prior to doing an event. First of all, will your ideal client be at this event? Obviously, you don't want to prejudge and things like that, but you want to think about what the event is going to bring to you and what people it's going to put you in contact with. Another question is, are people expecting to spend money at the event? This will determine how much product you choose to bring with you, and sort of your purpose in doing the event. So obviously, if you're doing a women's expo, people are going there ready to shop. If you're doing, I did like a fashion show event, and people had to buy tickets to come into the show. That show I didn't really sell very much, but looking back at it, it's more about who did I meet there that I furthered my business that way. So you want to sort of think about that when you're prepping. It's like, what is the purpose for them coming to this? This leads into, what are your goals for the event? So is your goal for the event to like buy a ton of stuff and sell it? Is your goal for the event more making appointments to book makeup or one-on-one consultations? Is it more about booking parties or meeting people that would also like to be presenters? And a lot of the presentership, that goes hand in hand with your selling. But like, I personally don't do bridal events because I don't do makeup, and most people that come into the bridal event are not necessarily looking to buy anything. They want freebies and to, see what's out there, and you might get some mothers of the bride buying, but I personally don't do them, because if you're a makeup artist, that's perfect. You can go in and make appointments and put Younique on them, and they'll buy a collection and, schedule their bridesmaids or whatever. It's perfect, Okay. So you want to form a strategy for that. So other questions that you want to ask are, what's the cost of the event and how many hours is the event? So, like this event that I did, it was a big expo. It was $1,100 to do the event. We had 4 girls that worked, and what we did was, I took the total hours of selling, which was 38. I divided the cost. There were always 2 girls there, so basically it cost $14.50 an hour to be at the event. And that's how I split it. But depending on whether you're bringing a direct downline and you think that their volume would help you, you might want to do it differently. The other thing that I personally do is everybody brings their own product. If you have a really trusting relationship with that person, like I did an event with Grace, and we swapped. So like if I was out of black pencils, you know, I gave her a brown pencil and I sold her black. But, you know, sometimes if you don't have that close of a relationship, you might want to just sell what you have and then and write down, you know, what you sell at the time to make sure that you're good with that. So these are other questions I like to ask is like how many years have they been doing the event? How do they advertise for the event? And most people that are coordinating the event will be like, I advertise a lot, but you know, so you kind of have to, you know, be wary of like sort of what they're saying and again, experience with the event. And then I ask how many people they expecting to come through the event. You want to kind of drop that number down a little bit because it may or may not be super accurate. One formula that one of my girls uses is 10 mascaras per 1,000 people, but I think that's a little inflated. I don't do that much personally, but it kind of gives you a ballish park. Again, you want to note like why are people coming to the event? That will affect it. So preparing. So how much stock do you want to bring? And that's where I said I go under that. So like this event, we sold about 275 lashes. We also sold other product at the event. But that event was forecasted 40,000 people coming to the event. And then the other cool thing about Younique is now people are looking for our booth, you guys. So when I first started doing these events, nobody had heard of it. Maybe they'd seen one picture on Instagram, and now people are like, I was hoping you'd be here. And I'm like, I'm here to save you, girl. Like, come get some mascara. So that's pretty cool. And actually what I've noticed with the numbers when I've repeated events is my sales each year increase because, again, the first year I did it, it was a lot more instruction and education, and now people are ready and they've been exposed. And just like with sales, the more you're exposed to something, the more you want it, and the more likely you are to purchase it. So I try to track my events from year to year and see where we're at. You want to decide what you're selling your product for. So obviously, we always sell at least catalog price for things. But like we got creative, especially we had that kudos, you know, there was that kudos with the little lips on it. And what we did at that event is we couldn't even get those bags prior to the event, but we put together like sort of our own kudos. So we did like a mascara, a gloss, and a pencil, and those did really well, like bundling those products, and that sort of makes sense in the grand scheme. As far as mascaras, what I tell people is, when people ask how much it is, I say it's $29, and then when I total them up, I say with tax, it's $31. And guess what? Nobody is like, you know, tax. I've never paid tax in my life. So it's something people are used to doing. But like when I first started selling, I would just sell it for $29. Well, it's $1.74 in tax that I just paid for that mascara. And so when I went back and looked at my numbers, I was like, I made $200 extra because I actually asked for the tax that they owed me. So that's kind of cool. So that's kind of how I do the mascara with that. Another suggestion, if you're doing an event that's really pricey, like something like a bridal show, if you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it, it's whatever, $300 to do this event, I really wanna make my money back, you know, that kind of thing. You wanna sort of see what you would need to sell in order to make your money back. But what I've done is I bank up my hostess reward credits, and you know that doesn't go toward your PRS or your goals for your rank, but that way I know once I've sold 10 mascaras, that's $290 in my pocket, like I've made my booth back and I did not lose money on the event. So that's something you can think about doing, and it kind of softens the blow if you're doing a pricier event. If you're doing smaller craft shows and things like that, you know, it's about $25 to $55 for your booth, you know, and that's not a big deal. But the bigger ones, I can see why you'd be like, I just want to make sure I do good. So I get questions a lot. What products do I bring to the event? What should I invest in? What do I need to do? Lashes, obviously. Lashes. That's what people are coming in for. That's our flagship product. And then I suggest doing other popular products. I mean, if you get a bunch of black pencils, you'll sell them. If you get a bunch of sexy pigment, Curious, you know, those really popular ones, those will sell. If you already have stock, because I have like a wide array of stock, so if you already have stock, what I suggest too is wear, like here's an example. I did an event and I had a bunch of angelic, like a lot, because back in May last year, we had a gift bag that had angelic in it. So I have a ton of it. But I don't usually wear that one. And I was like, I really want to sell this. And I'm like, ding, I need to wear it. So I wore it, I talked about it. Oh, look at this one. Oh, you know, you're thinking about pigments. This one's really pretty. I talked about it, and we sold them. So sell what you have, wear what you want to sell, and that will definitely help. I do the one-eye thing at my events as well. I've tried it both ways where I put a regular mascara on, and then to compare it, and then I've also tried it with bare lashes. And I personally kind of like the bare lashes better. It's a little bit more like jolting, because then when I put other mascara on, somebody always has an objection that, well, that's a crappy mascara. I'm like, really? Because it was $28, and I know a lot of people that like Lancome, and I'm like, really? Like, it's a crappy mascara? Whatever. So I move on, but I kind of like the bare lashes a little bit. I thought it was a good, and if you're doing it with two people, have one person wear regular mascara, and then have one person do bare lashes and mascara, because then you can sort of, like that's what I did there. Somebody was like, well, you have bare lashes, and I'm like, Val? And she's like, and then they got it, so it was all good. And then the other thing I want to talk about is, what do you love to talk about? Because if you love the primer, get some primer, because you'll sell it. Here's a perfect example. Grace did an event with me in Lansing, and together, I don't think I sold one. Did I sell one? No. She sold 9 primers at the event because she loves it and she loves to talk about it. And so I would suggest, if she asked me what should I have for an event, I would say, get some primer because you're awesome as a plant. Okay, a couple other things. Things that you'll kind of want to think about investing in are some folding tables, tablecloth. If you don't have photos printed, our catalogs are so big and beautiful now. I actually just opened that middle page with Anya's eyes, and like that was my picture, and it drew people in. I had it kind of at the front of my table. So because I broke a bunch of picture frames on my way over to the event, and then my pictures were ruined, and so I used the catalog, and it worked great. You want to make sure you have either a Square Reader or PayPal. You do pay a fee with that. That's sort of the way that it goes. And that's also why it's nice to sell for $31, because it kind of pays for a little portion of that. You want some cash to give people change. Oh, and don't worry about doing $31. Most people can find a 1. That's something else I learned, because I was like, how am I going to give them all this change? It's kind of crazy, and people usually have a 1 somewhere. You want to make sure you have your business cards or blitz cards. Drawing slips, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I like to do testing ones for the gloss, and testing ones, and like brushes and things for them to play with my pigments. Tape and scissors and bungee cords and things like that. What else do I need? A receipt book, a notebook. I like to have a new presenter's kit shown on my table, because it's really easy to transition into having the conversation about being a presenter when you have the kit right there and you can see what you get for $99. And like the Vistaprint sign, it's pretty cheap. You can usually find a coupon, it's like $99. I like that one. So those are things that you definitely want there. So this is how I like to set up my event. How am I doing on time? 8 minutes, okay. So I have a 4-foot, it's called a training table. So it's not low, it actually raises up to about here. And I like that because I hate looking down. So if I'm shopping, like I don't want to be like this, like looking at stuff. Like it's more comfortable to be like here and looking at things and playing with stuff. And how we had it was a 4-foot table in the front and then a long 8-foot table in the back. And then that way, as people sort of walked by, this was for the people that are non-committal. If everything's right in your booth, then they sort of feel like they have to commit to walking in and look at it and they have to talk to you. But I've had so many people walk by and they do one of these. And they kind of, they'll shimmy back over and then they might play a little bit. And I'll talk to them, but I'm very chill, very cool with them. And then they start to play with it, and then they want it, and then you kind of move from there. But I kind of like that setup. And it's not so like, I don't feel like I have to pull them in. And the other thing I like to do is do like various levels of things, because I think visually it's better if you have some things that are higher and lower, and you kind of get a nice little setup that way. Before I even get to drawing forms, because I don't think I put this in my notes, I want to talk a little bit about how I talk about the mascara when I'm talking to people at these events. So when I first did the event, the first big one that I did, I called up my friend and I'm like, I'm not selling what I thought I was going to sell. And she's like, okay, tell me what you're saying, people. And I said, okay, I say, hi, have you heard of Younique? We're a naturally based company, we're really, really new. And she's like, stop, just stop right there. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh, no. She goes, you need to just talk about the mascara. So she goes, just ask them. This is what I do now. I say, have you heard of our 3D Fiber Lash Mascara? Have you heard of 3D Mascara? And usually, they say whatever. They say, no, I haven't. And I'll say, it's super easy to put on. And I always have my tubes. You only take 2 tubes like this. You start with the transplanting gel. You put that all over your lashes. Second step, 100% green tea fibers. I apply those to my lashes as well. That's what makes them longer and thicker. And then I go back over it with the transplanting gel to seal those fibers on. It doesn't smear, it doesn't smudge, it will last you all day, and it comes off at night with your regular makeup remover, soap and water, or amazing shine balls. It's 20, and then sometimes I'll pause, and then they'll ask how much is it. But sometimes I'll go, if they pause and they don't ask me a question, then I'm ready to go to the next step. It's $29 plus tax for the set. It'll last you 2 to 3 months with everyday use, and we have it here today. And then if they're still quiet and they don't say anything, then I'll hand them my card and I'll say, you can always order it online. This is my website here. But like I said, we have it today. And then if you are doing some sort of a show special or something, you can go into that. But my biggest suggestion is to make sure you sort of have your spiel and practice it, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more confident you are, and then they're more likely again to shop with you because they don't think that you're like this awkward mascara girl that's like really super nervous. So preparing for events, okay, drawing forms. I didn't have drawing forms for this one event, which was fine. What I decided to do at that one was ask people when they purchased if they would like to be a part of our sales and promotions email. So I would take down their email if they wanted to do that, and I would follow up that way. And then what I did at this event, which I really liked doing, was asking, would you like an application video emailed or texted to you? And most people said yes, and so that's what I did to follow up. And then that's giving them that little extra step of customer service as well. Another thing I want to mention, my first event that I said was kind of a bust and I didn't quite have my spiel down and everything, is we were like, free mascara, you want to fill out the form for free mascara? Don't ever offer to give away a mascara, because everybody will think that they are going to be the lucky winner here and they will not buy from you. So give away a lip gloss, give away a sample pick, if you don't want to give away products, give away like a sample pack, give away a little makeup bag that you bought at the dollar store, but don't give away mascara. Okay, so that's sort of how I draw people in. Like I said, it's like, have you ever heard of 3D Fiber Lash Mascara? And then this is what I wanted to also mention, because now we have that brand recognition. A lot of people have tried it. And I actually sold to a lot of people that said, when I'm like, they would talk to their friends and be like, oh, fibers. Because there's, there's fibers and this and that. I'm like, so tell me how you put it on, and I'm like, let me talk to you, because if you don't like the mascara, you're the person I want to talk to. So I would sort of go over the application process with them and walk them through that. And like one lady told me, she was like, the brush, I don't know, something was weird with the brush. And she's like, I'm like, we need to get that exchanged. And then she ended up buying some lip stains and other stuff from me too while I was there, because she felt taken care of. And that's really what we're doing. And then as far as other application things, I ask them. I don't tell them how you apply it, I ask them how they apply it. And that helps them, me troubleshoot, like, they did not seal with the gel, because that's like 95% of the people that have a problem, that's the issue. Upselling at the event. So mascara, and then you can also, I still have skittish on my hand, it will not come off. I did all my stains on one hand and all my liners on the other, and I mean, those are the easiest things to demo because you're like, lip color, eye color, doesn't come off, look at this, and people are amazed by it. And then you can talk about those products too. And again, if you love talking about skincare, that will take, if it's a slower event, you know, you might want to sit and really hash that out. If it's busier, you might want to just kind of stick with color. But Grace always is like, before you go, I have some primer. And she squirts it in there. And then she sells 9 of them, it's crazy. And then again, the full service tech checkout. Can I email you a video and kind of, and make sure you follow up that way. Okay, so to demo or to not demo at the event? I don't demo. I have gotten some sales because people went to other events where they demoed, but I don't do, I'm like, hey, I don't do them because I really think if people really want to buy it, they'll buy it. And what I've also done for people that are skeptical and on the edge is I tell them, buy my mascara, put it on right here. I've got a nice little makeup chair, put it on, and if you don't love it, I will refund you right now, right here and now. We have an excellent return policy. And I've had a few people do that, and of course, then they're my demo, because then people come in and they check it out, and they're like, wow, this is incredible, wow, 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 wow. I've never, ever had anybody return it to me at that point, ever. They love it. But like, I think a lot of people are just like, I want to just try it. And actually, I did demo once for this one girl, and she didn't buy it. And I was like, see, you should have trusted yourself. Don't demo it. So that's just my take on it. But I do like to do the glosses and colors. I think that's a good thing to do. Talk about following up, networking with other vendors we talked about. And just remember, like, when you're doing an event that you're an ambassador for Younique, you're setting, you know, yes, we're all independent, but you're setting the stage and you're setting somebody's experience with Younique. And then as you're creating those relationships, people will be loyal to you. Just remember that don't be on your phone, don't be, you know, checked out. Like, be there, be present, help them, and you'll have a really successful event. So, thank you so much.